Thank you.
What is going on out there? What are people seeing?
Well, it's a complex story that make it very succinct. We did predict this 30 years ago that they would begin to launch some activity equivalent to a false to make it look like there's some sort of alien attack or threat.
Back to the drones. Can you unequivocally say that none of the drones that are being spotted are DoD assets or something that's being tested within the Defense Department? Are all of these either civilian or otherwise, but just not Department of Defense drones?
You're talking about the drones in New Jersey up and down the... Yes, they are not DoD assets.
None of them are?
To my knowledge, none of them are.
Okay, and are there any sort of experimental programs going on where maybe drones are being tested that...
To my knowledge, no.
In reality, it's a response to what's happening. And I've recently told the incoming members of the administration this and people at the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee that we have a team of about 6 different black sites that have been running illegal projects related to so-called UAPs and UFOs coming forward in the next 30 days or so. They will bring forth dispositive evidence of this and the fact that these programs have been run illegally and outside of constitutional oversight. This is a ramp up to divert attention from that activity and could lead to some other events that would be catastrophic. This is a very dangerous situation. Nothing people are seeing has anything to do with aliens or extraterrestrial intelligence. It has to do with trying to maintain the cover up on a secret program that went black, but illegal black, back in the late 1950s. So we're into 65, 70 years of some very dangerous operations. Now, these men that are defecting are coming out of some sites I've been at. I was in a helicopter last year, after that I was almost killed, frankly. And we were over these black sites and saw the openings that go into underground facilities where there are the man-made UFOs that come out, but also where they have illegal electromagnetic pulse weapons where they target and down the extraterrestrial vehicles that are then reverse engineered.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, Dr. Greer.
But if this non-human intelligence is so advanced, and at least some of them are malevolent, why haven't they destroyed us already? Perhaps some fragile yet combustible détente has been reached. Grush has written an internal document about his discoveries that refers to agreements that risk putting our future in jeopardy.
And it's quite clear that you're talking about agreements between America and non-human intelligences. Have we made agreements with non-human intelligences?
That's the kind of information I really hope national leadership is able to get to the bottom of.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements between non-human intelligences and the American government?
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well.
The United States government knew about the ET presence no later than July of 1947 in Roswell. Made the decision at that time to keep that from the American people. Fine. Almost exactly 5 years later to the week, there was a significant flyover of Washington, D.C. The U.S. government had a problem. General John Sanford made the response for the government, which was equivocative, but not unreasonable. But also there came a response from Donald Keogh, who flat out said, these are extraterrestrials. It's not human. Again, the government made the decision to keep this from the American people. 10 years later, 1962, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, where we almost had a nuclear war. Only 4 years after that, these craft started appearing over our nuclear facilities and shutting our nuclear weapons down. How many times this happened in the 60s, we don't know. Because the Air Force probably at some point was able to keep a much tighter rein on the outcome. But witnesses for a number of these shutdowns came forward. They have been trying to testify before Congress for 30 years, which is when they initially made the decision to start coming forward, led by Captain Robert Salas. The government has not allowed them to testify, and in fact, it has virtually ghosted them. It was about the only thing they could do. All right. And so that was in the 60s. Again, the government kept this from the American people. Decades went on. And then we start to approach what I think is the end game. the end of the truth embargo. And we start moving into that 7-year period starting in 2017. But it's not been easy. It's been slow. There's been pushback. There's been some wins and losses, but we are moving toward disclosure without question.
I want everyone at home I want us all to be on the same page.
Yep.
You're saying that we have the technology to shoot ET craft, not of this planet, out of the air, and we are reverse engineering those aircraft.
100%. And there are multiple men coming forward. They've been with JSOC and Special Forces, who are also NOCs, an unofficial cover in corporate world. One of them's been there about 29 years and is very senior and has all the evidence, and they'll be releasing the evidence and the information. Now, this creates a dynamic because it's happening before the inauguration. They plan to do it sometime between now and early January. And I've been working with these men for about 19 months, and they're serious, and they have the goods. They can prove what they're stating, but they're also going to unmask themselves. They will come forward, the name, rank, serial number, and the whole history of this, including the illegal nature of some of these programs, which we don't have time to go into, but they'll curl your toes. Some of the stuff that's been going on is quite illegal and very dangerous and horrible. But the technologies, I mean, remember the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty requires that we have no electromagnetic pulse
Could you give me, Dr. Greer, could you give us a quick summary? I'd like to hear some of the toe curling details, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, for example, they have been able to confirm one of our whistleblowers' testimony, who's a Marine, Michael Herrera, who was present at an event, stumbled across an event during a rescue mission after the Indonesian earthquake in 2009. And he came across a platform, a man-made object, about 300 feet around, that was manned by covert human operators who were American. And they had boxed up and crated up humans that they were trafficking that had oxygen tanks on this tank. And they were being moved to a black site for various types of human experimentation and use. It's horrific, some of the actions. The main operator from 2 of these black sites that I've been at, I will not discuss where they are right now.
Okay.
It'll be disclosed fairly soon. He actually had personal knowledge of that. So when this whistleblower came forward, who was taken to the Pentagon Aero Office and Senate Intelligence Committee, he approached me and confirmed all of it. And so he said, not only that, but it's way worse than that. So there are some really worrisome programs going on without the oversight of the president or the Congress, and that has to get corrected because it's dangerous. Now, all these drones and everything going on is both a diversion, but an attempt to create a psychological warfare,
a psyop, to distract us.
And that's really what it is, but it could escalate to something very dangerous. I mean, yesterday I was told that I personally might be arrested, that there will be a character assassination plot against me that will come out